Namaste. This is a kind of continuation of our last talk on transformation, resistances, difficulties. So people sometimes become quite fearful and nervous. We must understand that if you want to strive for something great, truly worthwhile, then difficulties and challenges are part of the journey. Even Nirvana, Sri Aurobindo says that no yoga is easy, it's like learning French without tears. So if we are want only comfort zones of life, whatever they may be, then we have to be satisfied with whatever little life gives us, which is fine. It is a choice people make. So that's why the mother and Sri Aurobindo have never wanted a kind of people should join and get into this yoga of transformation. Always they've been rather Sri Aurobindo has been more like more as somebody has said, there were more rejections than acceptance. So we must understand the difference between the yoga of transformation and turning to the mother as a devotee who can ask anything, everything. Maybe at some point of time you will be picked up into the yoga of transformation. Or if you want liberation, she can grant you that. With her, we can have any kind of relation. That will depend upon the soul's approach, temperament, turn of being, approach, and the Divine Mother's grace. So that relation stands for good. We should not mix up the two. But this does not mean that everybody who is necessarily has some kind of opening or love or feels some kind of bhakti is necessarily engaged at least in the yoga of transformation proper. Why I mean to say is that it's like saying that I want to travel to, let's say, from Delhi to Pondicherry. So I may have a thought of it, which is a good starting point. But between the thought and purchase of the ticket, many slips may come. And after the purchase of the ticket, again going into the train or the flight, again many slips. So there are many levels, steps of the journey. And while the simplest of it is to have a thought of it, but as we come closer and closer, the challenges tend to increase, which is only natural. If I want to climb a mountain, in the beginning it's very easy. You are taking a train or a flight to the foothills. It's the easiest part. And you may be carrying a lot of baggage, eateries, friends, but as you go up, not everybody may be able to join you or undertake the rigors of the journey. And I think I have given this example earlier of the film Uchai that very beautifully depicts that if you aim high, as Sri Aurobindo says, you cannot afford to misconduct your airplane. So when Sri Aurobindo and the mother tell us about the difficulties of the transformation, it is like a most benevolent teacher or a mother and father who don't want to keep us in the dark. They don't want to pull disciples saying, come, it's a wonderful transformation, it'll be so easy, come here, it's not like a 14-day course in Nirvana or a 10-day course in Vipassana. They don't want to do that kind of thing. Because they want to be very truthful and honest with us, telling us the challenges. Also because forewarned is forearmed. So if I go and undertake a journey, for instance, you want to come to Pondicherry, and it helps if somebody tells you, look, this is a rainy season, you carry an umbrella or a raincoat. So it is something like that. Or it's going to be very hot, so take light clothing. Or you will need to open your shoes every time you enter a department. So keep a pair of chappals handy. So it is in that sense. At no time they are saying that, you have to handle it yourself. Repeatedly the mother and Sri Aurobindo tell us that on one side you have to cultivate certain attitudes. On the other side, the Divine Mother's grace goes with you. And she even goes on to say, which is so true of all who walk the path, the more the difficulty, the greater the grace. So it means as you are going through greater and greater challenges, the sense of the divine presence, the grace and the love you feel is so much more. So that is something which sustains us through the journey. The sadhak feels so much that touch which he was longing for. He realizes that, well, I have to go through this narrow path. After all, why do people go to Amarnath? If you look at it, it's not an easy journey. But people undertake. Why? Because they know that right from the beginning, Babaji is calling me. And when they go there, they have that experience of that wonderful experience which justifies all the trouble of the way. So when the difficulties of transformation are spoken of, it is not in the sense that, oh my God, it's impossible. It's only so that we understand and we are forearmed if we enter into this process. It's very difficult to say that somebody chooses for transformation. One may make a choice, but you should know anything that what you are going in for and how the process works. It's not like a magic that today we start the yoga of transformation and after 10 days you have suddenly a great illumination. Sri Aurobindo says very clearly, by transformation I mean a radical change of consciousness. I do not mean by the word things like saintliness, ethical perfection, or even tantric yogic siddhis. Sri Aurobindo's words. I use it in a special sense, and he says, what sense he uses? It is to establish an entirely new consciousness as the basis of our action and leading to a change in the very earth consciousness greater in magnitude than what happened when man came, with animals, in the midst of animals. So we can take it like this, that often people say, what about spiritual experiences, realizations? Are they not transformative? Well, it's again, you have a monkey or an ape with you. Now, ape literally apes you. That's why if you observe apes, they ape your behavior very well. They can wear, if you're wearing a glass, they may snatch and take it. All kinds of behavior. If you throw something, they'll throw it back to you. So, this ape is aping a human, but is not human. Maybe in certain of his habits, he may even start being like human. And that's how the spiritual experiences. I'm not saying the greatest ones like realizing union with the divine, but many spiritual experiences that one has on the way, they are touches, early glimpses, which is very different from the radical change of consciousness where the whole basis changes. So what is the difference? Experiences come in a special moment. So there is a state of consciousness. It could be anything. Let's not specify. It could be meditation. It could be taking a walk. Suddenly you have a wonderful opening and an experience. And that experience is very, very beautiful. It puts a stamp on your consciousness. So you can refer back to it. You know what? I experienced that peace when I was walking or when I was standing face to face or when I went to the Samadhi, I experienced a great peace within. Or you see a light, see a vision, experience descent of light. Now these are experiences. They become realization when they are established in the consciousness. So when peace is established in an unshakable way, this is a realization. But then in all your actions, realization means it is always there. You can always refer back to it anytime. But transformation means now the whole basis of my action will be based on this which is deeply established inside me. Meaning thereby I didn't have only a glimpse of divine consciousness or some kind of contact, even some kind of experience, maybe of the impersonal Brahman or the personal Brahman, etc. But now the divine consciousness is the basis of all my actions. In fact, then there is no more I progressively, it is the divine which starts manifesting through us. So transformation in one word is divine manifesting through human. Even now it is happening, but through the distortion of the veils. So why? Because through evolution, nature has evolved a structure, a framework, body, mind, life, heart, but it's largely to suit its animal purposes. Maybe a little bit of human stirring, because there has to be a difference. A new species has come, a more mentalized consciousness. But transformation would mean that these structures have to now undergo a further modification so that they can adapt to, receive and transmit the divine consciousness without distorting. This is what transformation means. So it's a two-way or two-stage process, to put it very simply. First step is to realize the divine. And for Sri Aurobindo's yoga, it is through the soul. You cannot talk about transformation. All will be only a preparation till one has touched that. Even some bhakti is not enough. One has to realize the divine. And then, of course, in this yoga, the slight difference is while you are realizing, you don't abandon the world. Because there are extreme kind of ways of realizing the divine where you completely abandon this life in the world. That doesn't help, because when you do that and you realize, you come back. Your senses are dried, your mind is not ready, your heart may not be ready. So it cannot become an instrument for the divine action. So while one is on the way to realizing the divine, one simultaneously takes care of the instrument. It's like one day Shabri is concentrated on Ram, but she doesn't neglect the house. She is keeping it clean, plucking the plums, keeping it ready. One day Ram may come. So in that sense, it is a double labor, as the mother says, that one has to realize both the perfection, the higher perfection which comes by realizing the divine, as well as the lower perfection where the mind, heart, body has to constantly be prepared for receiving the divine influx. That is the challenge. Because when it works upon the mind, that part we have already dealt with. If the mind is not prepared, it may throw up all kinds of doubts, resistances. Heart is not prepared, it may throw up all kinds of difficulties inside it, and so on and so forth. So this is the basis, this is the idea, and the process is very simple. As these difficulties come up, we have to face them with a certain set of attitudes, and we have to keep remembering and offering. The mother at one place says, remembrance of the divine is the indispensable condition for transformation. So there is no change in the process. But it becomes very difficult sometimes, for some people at least, to remember as the challenges come up. Because what happens? The mind throws up doubt. See, I have turned to the divine. I was remembering the divine. Or I came to the ashram with such wonderful aspirations. See what has happened to me. Now this is where we are being tested by the forces. And that's where faith, sincerity and surrender are the primary requirement. Endurance, plasticity are other requirements. Vigilance, growing sincerity which keeps on growing. Calling on the divine, courage to face anything and everything, fearlessness, all these are qualities which we must cultivate. And they come whenever there is so many opportunity life gives us. Equanimity is a very important condition. So we have to develop these as we go through life. So simultaneously, many levels the working goes on. And if one goes through, one realizes all that has been already there, and one begins to see the change. The basis of mental action completely changes. A new kind of knowledge begins to pour from within. A new kind of knowledge begins to widen above. Similarly, the heart undergoes a change. Last time we spoke only about difficulties, but it undergoes a change. Emotions such as jealousies, possessiveness, and hate, all these become impossible to the heart that has undergone a psychic transformation. Psychic transformation to an extent has been there even in Vaishnava literature, even in Christian mystics. Because of the love of God, the heart becomes full of sweetness and a kind of love which is of a very different kind, joy, sacred joy. All this happens on the way. Similarly, life, it doesn't, all those, if fatigue, depression, especially depression, things are not happening my way. So this tendency of the force of life to sink and curl upon itself, all that begins to go away. Desires whose sting keeps goading us, all that is taken away. Greed, its burden is taken away. Ambition, it loses its meaning. Because when you are serving the divine, you feel there is nothing which can be ever greater. So this change also comes. So resistance, it doesn't mean the change. And they'll come automatically. And it's such a freedom. Because then you realize that, you are getting free. Because then you compare, 10 years back I was such a monkey. Or maybe a donkey, who knows. Donkey as they say. And that time one felt, no, I am fine, I know, I am reading Mother and Sri Aurobindo. But when the change comes, when certain things pass away from your nature for good, then you feel such a release, because then you realize that desire was making you unhappy, restless. Now you are at peace. There is freedom, there is liberation. At every level this liberation repeats itself. Not only within the soul, in the mind. Mind is liberated from all systems, theories, beliefs, opinions, because of which, we take hard stances, we make rigid dogmas, we get disturbed by ourselves and by others. Why this person is doing this? Why that person is doing this? Then you begin to see things in a very large, vast way. You realize there is not one way, but a million pathways to the divine. That's what is the opening of the Sahasrara at one level. Because you realize that people, each one in his own way, you begin to see the divine element behind so many things. So it's such a release of the mind. The knowledge which comes pouring in. Heart is released from all those small crampy emotions which make us feel so unhappy, disturbed, me and mine all the time. So it goes away. It's again a great freedom inside. So this way, slowly, the liberation comes, purification happens. With purification, liberation comes at every level, even at the level of the body. The body full of fears, habits of response. You have a little cut and the body reacts in such a way, strong way. You have a little hurt or an injury, the body reacts in such a way. Body begins to change its response. It begins to become plastic. It begins to endure better. And things which would otherwise, by habit of response, create a big illnesses, will just come, touch, because body is the last bedrock, and it'll pass away. So somebody was especially scared about, sexual desire, they may come up. Yes, they may come up because they are buried inside. Millions of years of problems, or nature running in certain grooves. There is no cause for fear. One has to learn to face all this with equanimity, endurance, and not to put things under the carpet, but to see them for what they are, and then to offer them to the mother, and keep on striving in the right way with putting effort 10 million times if necessary. It's not required, but I'm just, mother has said 10,000 times if required. And go through the journey. It's a very joyous journey at the end of the day. And what else is there otherwise? And if one thinks that nirvana is easy, no, nirvana is also not easy. And second, okay, I'll just form a very happy relation with God that I'll get what my desires. Yes, but Shri Krishna has answered that already. That even those who pray to other devas for worldly desires, material things, the divine grants them. In fact, he says, I am the one who grants it through the devas. But you are caught in the web of ignorance. That means when we come back in next life, again we'll carry the basta to the school. We don't want to do that. I mean, there are people who may be happy doing it, that you'll be thrown some, we don't know, like an ignorant, unconscious life. It's okay that today we are so fortunate that grace has come. We know there is a path and a goal. And once we know there is a path and the goal, why not put ourselves 100% into it? Imagine coming back again. Admission in school. Then going through all that AI, this, that, competition, all that rise, down, heartbreaks and heartaches and Milan and Vira and then, children and God knows what. Then again you discover Mother and Sri Aurobindo. What is this game? I mean, some people may enjoy it, but a stage comes when, even when the game, you learn how to navigate through it, you feel enough is enough. Nature has played enough with us this way. No, I want it another way. It must change. This sukh dukh wala khel purana ho gaya. Joy and sorrow is old game. Now we want to live in the inalienable delight of the divine. So this is the background. And these are some of the hints in the process. Rest, I think we have already discussed the stages, steps, and time to time, if there is specific question, we'll take it up. Thank you.